everything, innovation, our product solutions, things like that. The episodes are going to consist, they're all going to be live. So anything goes here, technical difficulties, mess ups, stumbles, fumbles, you name it, it's going to be that way. We're going to be training from our houses, until the current stay-at-home order in New Hampshire 2.0 goes away and we can get back to normal. Hope everybody's staying safe and healthy out there. We'll be working in our workshops as well. That's where Bo is right now. He's in our seminar center in Colorado out in the workshop, staying safe. He's the only one there. So social distancing, doing all that. When we get back to normal, we'll be in our interactive learning centers. We'll be on job sites. We'll be in the trenches, different workshops, things like that. We're going to come to you from different avenues, Bo and I. We're going to have guest hosts. So we have a whole year planned out for everyone. So I hope you can tune in to every single episode that we offer. The first one, like tonight, 6 p.m. Central. The next one, so every other week, right? Every other Wednesday, what we're doing is we're rolling into episodes. The next one's going to be at 12 p.m. Central. The reason why we're doing that is because we're trying to target different audience, maybe capture different audience, capture different time zones as well. So, and we're going to alternate like that back and forth, back and forth. There'll be no repeat episodes. They're all going to be different episodes, every single one. We'll probably have another tooling episode. That's what we're doing tonight. We're going to be talking all about tools. I hope you saw all the advertisements, everything like that. So tonight is all about press tools, right? Tooling platforms for our press technology. And the point of this too is you're going to be able to ask your questions live to us. So if you notice on your platform, whether you're on an iPad, a smartphone, your laptop, if you actually just tap your screen, move your mouse, you're going to see the control panel. If you look at the Q&A function, that's where you're going to be able to enter all your questions tonight on this show, and we're going to be able to answer them live on air. So that's where we want you to put all your questions as we're going through, talk about it, answer your questions, and we're going to do it there. There's a chat function too. You can put your chat function in. That's just if you don't want it to be answered on air. You just want, hey, can you please email me this literature? I have a question offline. So there's a chat function for offline topics after we get off the show. But while we're on the show, go in the Q&A section and we'll answer those questions live. So tonight what we're doing is we're rolling into press tool platforms. We're going to talk about rigid and the jaws and our fittings and the compatibility and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this right over to Bo and let him take it away.
All right. Thanks, Troy. Excellent intro. And we're really, really excited to see you all. Just so you know, we can't really see you. We're going to look at you, but just so you know, like if you're sitting there in your underwear, it's okay. So don't panic. For those of you that spilled your beer getting up in a hurry to put pants on, relax. It's just fine. We can't see you. We don't want to see that. Really, we don't. Not at all. Like seriously, no. So thank you again for attending. We're psyched to have you on board. Please put your questions in the question field. I'll be fielding questions. You'll see me glancing off screen. So I'm checking the chat window, I'm checking the Q&A window, making sure that things are being fielded. Troy's running from his iPhone. So cool, the technology we're using. This is really raw. We don't have producers. We're doing this on a shoestring budget, and we're really, really excited. So please get your questions out there, and we'll continue to engage with you. So rigid, Viega, how does this all mesh together? What does all this mean? So in 1989, Viega produced its first press fitting, and it was a bronze or brass press fitting. And roughly around 94, they launched a product called Profi Press, Profit and Press, Profi Press. And it took the European market by storm. Pressing technology already existed, but Viega was pioneering. They were really bringing this technology to the market. And about 5 years later, we decided to come to the United States. And I got to tell you, I can't confirm or deny this is true, but I really think that Viega Germany was like, yeah, we'll see. We don't know if the Americans are ready for press technology yet. But lo and behold, they said, you know what, we'll let you give it a run. And so Viega was started out in very humble beginnings in New Bedford, Mass. And we started out in a partnership with Rigid. And basically the way this worked is we needed a tooling partner, and we were so small, we needed somebody to sell our stuff, right? And Rigid, I remember my first plumbing job, probably 32, 33 years ago, I've been doing this for 35 years, was taking a Rigid Coleman sewer machine with 1-inch cable, sectional, off a truck with my dad. And I remember he said, we loaded the machine to the ground. I was 13, 14 years old. And he said, we just made $100. And I was like, I want to be a plumber. So remember those tools, you know, it's a pro brand. Everybody knew Rigid and, you know, it was ubiquitous through the industry. And of course, not to forget, you know, the Rigid advertisements, which were pretty cool back then. I think they've toned it down a little, but if you guys are old school like me, you know what I'm talking about. So, you know, big pipe wrenches and stuff like that, and just really cool stuff. I remember operating my first 48-inch steel pipe wrench. Oh my God, you know, so heavy. So professional brand, and we needed that backing. And so we took executives from the parent company of Rigid, Emerson Tool, and Ridge Tool Company, and we took them to Germany and we said, hey, what do you think? You know, we showed them the platform, showed them the factory, so forth and so on. And they were like, wow, this is so cool that not only will we partner with you, we're going to go ahead and purchase the company that is making the tools for you in Europe. And so our partnership was sealed, and we had a 7-year tooling and distribution agreement with Rigid, and that eventually sunset, and Rigid took care of tooling and we took over distribution. So when you know, people say, oh, you know, how did you guys first come to America? By boat? Yeah, by boat, but under the brand name Rigid ProPress. Nobody knew who Viega was. They thought we made a little blue pill. So true story, you know, nobody had heard of us. And of course, those of you who harken back to the Stadler Viega days, they knew us, but you know, nobody really knew who we were. So Rigid put us on the map, and that kind of describes our partnership with Rigid.
And that's a great point, Bo. I remember my first job, 2004, licensed plumber, TGI Fridays, first time introduced to Viega ProPress. But at the time, I thought it was Rigid ProPress because there was Rigid reps coming out, training me on the job, telling me how to put it in. And I hope you show this tool off tonight, Bo, because the first one I had, the CT400, I felt like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie Commando, just with that thing. I mean, 20 pounds heavy. But, you know, fell in love with press right away. And it was the Rigid guys that supported us all through that job and every other job from there. So great relationship with them. And we're going to get right in their tools tonight, and I can't wait.
Awesome. Hey, Troy, we got a question. I'm going to throw this to you. You'll love this one. So I don't know where they came from. Got to Learn says, how do I convince my viewers that the EPDM O-rings, we call them sealing elements, Troy's going to explain why, are long lasting? And he says, I get this all the time, or they say I get this all the time. So
that's great. So we also get that question all the time, and we try to tell everybody, hey, it's a elastomeric sealing element. It's not your typical O-ring. Typical O-rings, you know, they will lose their compression set over time, lose their elasticity. They can dry rot, stress crack. That's why plumbers go out and have service calls. We're going out and changing out shower valves, you know, cartridges. We're changing out O-rings and faucets. That's because those O-rings, those gaskets, they're dynamic seals. They're a direct flow path. They're constantly moving, rotating, things like that. Our sealing elements are manufactured a little different than your typical O-ring. We actually have a standard that we test to for compression sets. So I always say, hey, it's like a stress ball. When you squeeze a stress ball and you let it go, it's trying to go back to its original manufactured shape. Our sealing elements do the same thing. And when you make that press, right, and you actually have that metal-to-metal connection on both sides of that sealing element in your ProPress fitting, that's actually creating a static seal. So now that seal is not in direct flow path of the media flowing through the pipe. Now, it is needed. The other question is, hey, if I rip it out and press it, it's a cool magic trick, right? And I pressurize it up and it holds. That's a great magic trick for cold water pressure, but in a dynamic system, expansion, contraction, water hammer, things like that, that sealing element is your primary sealing source. And because it's a static seal housed in its own environment, we're able to get that longer life out of it because it's not a dynamic seal and it maintains its original compression set. So we warranty our ProPress fittings for manufacturer defects up to 50 years from the date of installation. And that's what's important about Viega ProPress, Viega Press technology, is our warranties are date of installation. So, and your shelf life, 25 plus years. So it's sitting on the shelf in a bag, in a wholesaler, warranty's still good, right? So that's why it's date of installation. So high quality sealing elements, cross-linked peroxide care, all this different stuff. I mean, probably some proprietary stuff they don't want me saying online. So I won't get too into it, but they're not your typical O-rings.
Thanks, Troy. Shout out from Jeff Hornberger at M&H. Nice beard, Troy. So yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep. So I'm going to just keep going with the questions here. We're going to get the tools, I promise. But same individual asked, do they work on Steam? I know you love this question. And some sources say yes, some say no. I'm going to give it to you from the horse's mouth right now that helped rewrite the new application chart. And the answer is yes. Troy, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been working on this, and for years, Viega has offered a sealing element that is used in Steam systems, Steam applications. And we do what's called low pressure steam. Now, to me, that definition can be different. I come from commercial, industrial, and kind of a chameleon. Wherever the money went, that's where I went. So a gas fitter, pipe fitter, all that stuff. So if I'm in an industrial plant, the definition of low pressure steam is not the same as what we say in our approved application chart. So low pressure steam is up to 15 PSI that we're approved for. And you want to use our FKM sealing element from 5 PSI up to 15 PSI systems, right? So because of the superiority of that seal, it can handle temperature spikes up to 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry, it's 14 degrees to 284, spikes to 356. So it has a better, let's say, heat resistance to it. Now, if we're doing some residential steam applications, I'm from New England, we've done a ton of them. Those systems are typically a half PSI. You may see 2 to 5 PSI in some systems, but that's the max. So anything up to 5 PSI, what we're calling residential steam, you're going to go ahead and just use the EPDM sealing element for that. So this is for the steam side of things, steam application. When we get into condensate, the sealing element, no issue on the condensate, carbonic acid. However, we don't approve steam condensate because of that carbonic acid rots the metals away. So typically somebody will throw SCED 80 on there, and they're going to want to now use a mega press fitting, which is a SCED 40 fitting. So see right there, you got SCED 40, SCED 80, which one's gonna probably pinhole first. So we don't approve that application. I'm telling you, it happens all the time, but it's not a warranted application because of that. So we want the entire system to last the life of the system. So when you install our press fittings, they're meant to last the life of the system. So that's what we're doing. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've dug into the steam thing. We've been doing steam for years. And we have 2 options for you. And check out Viega.us. We have an approved applications chart on there. If you have any questions, I have an entire tech team in New Hampshire, currently working from home right now, all licensed individuals from the field, and they can help you out. So you can email techsupport@Viega.us and get any literature that you want.
Troy, you want to shout out the toll-free number for tech support too? Call me.
Let me look that up, bro. I got so much tech stuff up here. You put me on the spot with the phone numbers. I don't even remember my parents' phone numbers anymore these days. Everybody back in the day with the rotary phones and pay phones, things like that, you had to remember numbers. Now, just bust out your cell phone, hit tech support, and it's there. Don't even remember the number. I'm sorry, bro. I'll have to look it up.
Awesome. I remember you told me, I got to look, because I asked for it, and you said, I got to look it up. So the toll-free number to the company, just in case, because you can't ask for tech support, 1-800-976-9819, and they'll patch you through to tech support. Troy couldn't remember the direct inward dial of the number of his own department. I love it, Troy.
No way.
I know you put something falls out. I get it, man. I get it.
I got to keep the plumbing knowledge in here.
That's awesome. All right, we got some more great questions coming in, but I am going to break off and I want to show you a couple cool rigid tools. So that be all right?
Yeah, that's great, Bo.
All right, I'm gonna just switch cameras here. Okay, so rigid. Those of you that remember back in the day,
there we go.
CT400, right? Get to the chopper. Right, this is the powerhouse, and I'll tell you what, you got to be ready when you press with this tool, because you pull the trigger and press is over. It's done. There's no margin for error on this thing, and it's burly. I can tell you, like U.S. Engineering up in Loveland, they've got one of these things on a gantry with some pulleys and a counterweight, so they can grab it with one hand and move it around. It's super heavy, super burly. This thing will be around when the cockroaches are the only thing left on this planet, I promise you. Cockroaches and CT400s. If you have one of these tools, hang on to it. They're bomb-proof. They're great. Super heavy, not super wieldy, but fantastic. First execution for a corded tool from Rigid harkens back to the burly tools that Rigid's been making since they started, and just a really cool tool platform. So anyone's familiar with that, that's the CT400. Still works. Will not work on a press booster. We're going to get to that, okay? This will handle any standard size jaw, and I'm going to cover standard versus compact jaws here coming up, but this is a standard jaw. This is a really, really old jaw. And, you know, this thing will still press, an old ProPress jaw. So it's got the old logo on it. It says ProPress in italics, and that's like old school. That's super old school. So
fastest press tool on the market.
Yeah, without a doubt, the fastest press tool on the market. Yeah. So some other tools, and I'll just pull this guy up. This is the RP340. So this was the successor to the RP330, and I wish I had a 330 here because I wanted to show them side by side, but I don't. We just don't have any. We're a new seminar center. We have all new stuff. But what I want to show you about this tool is beat to heck. It has been through war. I mean, there's stuff peeling off of it. This was actually the loaner tool when we built these buildings, and it was the one loaner tool we had on site. This thing was in the mud. It was in the dirt. Oh, what do you got there, Troy?
RP340 as well, man.
Nice.
That's awesome.
It's a nice shiny new one.
That's just a light, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. But this thing has been through a war zone, and I'll tell you what, man. You know, it's beat. It's been in the mud. Powers right up. Runs. Okay. Limited lifetime warranty on these tools, so they can be rebuilt. You know, when you get to the end of your press cycles on this, you'll get a warning light. You'll get an error that's that you're down to your last 2,000 presses. Time to get it in for service. You ship it out. They rebuild it. You can send it to Rigid. You can send it to a Rigid authorized service center. They rebuild this tool, get it back in the field, get you running. And I'll tell you what, if that happens to you, get a hold of your Viega salesperson, your Viega DM, Viega Industrial Accounts Manager, Viega Technical Manager, Viega Radiant Sales Manager, Radiant Technical Manager, anybody that you can from Viega. And those guys have loaner tools, those folks, I should say, guys and girls, and they'll get you a loaner tool. So, you know, you can keep running and keep pressing. So press on. So really awesome tool platform.
And that's what's great about the Rigid tool with the microprocessor, Bill. You're saying it's got the lights on there. So it's not, they don't have to guess about the presses.
Yeah.
You know, you get to 40,000 presses, the yellow light's going to start flashing at you. You know that you have 2,000 presses left. Then once you hit 42,000, that yellow light goes solid, you know, locks you out of the tool. And that's so you can have a reliable connection every single time, right? And then when you go get it refurbished or serviced, it comes back to you like brand new. You got another 42,000 presses. So this tool makes you money over time. It makes you money right away. It's actually the lowest overall install cost when you invest in these tools. Upfront cost might be, you know, first kind of gives you that sticker shock, but when you do the math, 42,000 presses, that's going to be roughly for the cost of the tool with 1/2 to 2-inch jaws, 2 batteries, my case, it's going to be 8 cents per press. You can't even do solder for that.
Nope. So love that, Troy, because, you know, solder's expensive, and it's you know, soft metal. So fluctuation in price, anyone who's seen solder prices go up and down, you know what we're talking about. So absolutely. Compact tools. They take compact jaws. Okay, this one is actually a 1-inch, or excuse me, 1.25-inch pure flow PEX jaw, okay, for PEX press. But you've got your RP241. This is an inline tool, okay? So really nice because you can operate the tool with one hand on most jaws. You can, you know, still squeeze the trigger with one hand. You can hold the tool with one hand and squeeze the trigger, you're off to the races. So again, compact tool takes compact jaws. One thing to understand about compact jaws is they say compact on them, and I'll show you that on a ProPress jaw. So I'll show you that when we get into the ring kits as well.
And Bo loves that inline tool. That's the 241. My favorite one in my shop here is the 240. I just like the pistol grip. It's the ergonomics in it, right? I think the weight is great. You know, it's got the Rigid Link app, so I can actually sync this up to my phone, know how many presses I have to the T. It's not waiting for any lights to flash at me. I can literally sync this up. You know, I can see where I left the tool last, where it was last synced up. So I'm like, oh, just drove off the job site. The tool's not in my van. Where is it? Look it up. The last place that it was. I hope you left it on the job site, bud. Thanks. So Rigid Link app, really cool with this. It's got all the lights, diagnostics, everything. You know, if the pin's not in, it's going to yell at you. It's going to flash red at you. So you know. So again, it just gives you that consistency with our press fittings to make sure that everything is going to be reliable and leak-free.
Awesome. Thanks, Troy. So in that same tool Troy's talking about, you notice I've got this funky jaw, okay? It's actually called a C1 actuator, C for compact, okay? Well, this is a pretty cool little actuator because it happens to come with a very cool kit. And in that kit are rings. And these rings will get you into some really, really tight locations. So this is a V1 actuator. It says V1. And this is going to fit in the standard tool. And the C1 is going to fit in the compact tool. And the way these work with these little press rings, okay, this is a fantastic product that's available through Rigid. And you can press this or put this on your press fitting and attach the actuator. And you can get into some really, really tight locations with this. So now I've got swivel ability. I can get into a tight location. I can reach back into a cantilever, something like that. Tight location in a crawl space, up and around other piping. These things are amazing. And this type of swivel functionality is available on Rigid all the way up to 4-inch in copper, stainless steel, carbon steel, IPS, stainless stainless and carbon IPS, as well as copper and stainless CTS. So you have that swivel functionality, and that's a really, really cool feature that gets you into tight locations. So not a lot of places you got to break out a torch. We want to get you away from the torch. It's much safer to do it this way.
And as Bo said, that swivel action right there is only offered by Rigid, 180-degree swivel. So now if I'm in a wall, tight compartment, trying to do a shower valve, make a repair, I don't have to worry about, accidental fires or anything like that. I know we all have our shields and we're talented at soldering, but it's just a safer way now. It gives you that versatility with this kit. So, I'm always amazed when everybody comes to our seminar centers and they've never seen this before, because I know Rigid blasts it all the time. It's on social media. This thing is a lifesaver. So definitely check these out. You can get the kit, like Bo said, V1, C1, actuators that are going to go in your standard tools and compact tools. So, and the ring is the same ring. So the actuator press is the same ring, right? And that's going to say that right on there. So love these kits, man.
So Troy, I've got some cool stuff here. I've got this giant tool. I can show you what it does if you want to see. I know but it's up to you.
Let's jump into it, man. Tell them all about it.
All right, cool. Well, now we're bringing out the big tools. Again, back to the professional tool mantra here. I've got my RP340 and my Mega press booster. Okay, what this is going to do is it's going to double the force necessary to do the work that is going to be required to press this fitting. Okay, this is a 2.5-inch carbon steel IPS fitting. Okay, so we're talking pipe. So pipe requires a lot of force to press. One thing to understand about the tooling platforms, especially when we talk about carbon steel, the compact tools generate 24 kilonewtons, roughly 5,400 PSI. So one question we get a lot is, how do I know the tool's making enough force to press the fitting? I got a complete press. If the tool cycles completely, it made enough force, because every time you squeeze the trigger of the press tool, it's going to generate that much force. So on a compact tool, 5,400 PSI or 24 KN. And when we get into the standard size tools, it's about 7,200 PSI or 32 kilonewtons. Well, this fitting takes more force than that to press. So we have to amplify that force. And we're going to do that by doubling the travel required to make the work happen. And that's what the press booster does. It extends the travel of the Rigid RP340 tooling platform. So the booster, we got a question about, will this fit on my Milwaukee tool? This booster will fit on an RP330 or an RP340. That's it. Okay, and either of those corded or battery. Of course, there's a cord adapter for the 340, but the 330, you could get it corded or battery powered. And so that is the tooling platform, and it uses a ring. And I've got a ring kind of hanging off the pipe here, and this is your 2.5-inch Mega Press ring. And this ring was used on this job. It's tired, it's dirty, it's fine. It's ready for action. And mark my insertion depth on this piece of pipe. It's not a perfectly square cut. Someone cut that with a bandsaw. I cut this side with my rigid 614 dry cut saw with carbide teeth. Cuts beautifully like butter through steel pipe. P1000 strut, stainless steel pipe, copper tube, PVC, anything you're out on the job site with, rebar goes right through it. All thread. Oh my gosh, how much all thread do you cut in a day? So really cool tool to have, and that's a rigid 614 dry cut saw. But you can cut it with a bandsaw too. It's cut with a Milwaukee bandsaw. It's perfectly fine. Mark my insertion depth. We've already prepped this. So I'm just going to go ahead and make the press. And the ring is going to go over the fitting hub, make sure it's locked securely in place. And then this is a double press process. So this tool can be a little heavy, so I do recommend the strap. And what I'm going to do is just lock it onto the ring, and I'm going to squeeze the trigger. And I'm stuck here. I'm going nowhere, okay? The reason for that is I've only completed part of the press, all right? I still have the swivel ability. Of course, now I'm locked on, so it's a little harder to swivel, but I would have had my positioning if I needed to swivel before I made the press. Okay, I've got to squeeze the trigger a second time. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, and waiting for the ram to reset. One more trigger pull, and I can open my jaws again. And I have a completely pressed system ready to go. I can pressure test this guy up to 200 PSI with air or 600 PSI hydrostatic, ready to go. Not going anywhere. Let's take some questions.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, let's take some questions. I see it blowing up in here.
Oh yeah, it's
great. I love it.
Crazy. I've got some stuff sitting over here that I don't know if I should show it or not, Troy. It's some pretty sexy stuff out here.
I think.
Camera.
Yeah, I think after we answer some questions, I really want to see some future innovations for sure.
Okay, cool. So, man, we got a million questions coming in. This is fantastic.
I know. I saw my phone blowing up. I don't even know if we'll
be able to answer them all. Yeah. So, someone asked about a 6-year-old Milwaukee M18 1/2 through 2-inch press kit. Will the rigid 2 1/2 through 4-inch mega press kit with booster fit my system? Take it away, Troy.
Yeah, so with Milwaukee tooling platforms, you have their M12 compact, so that's going to be considered a compact. And then you got your M18, whether it's 6 years old or brand new, their M18 was considered a standard tooling platform. So with that, there is some interchangeability with that. So anything that's considered a standard tool, standard jaws are going to fit into there. Anything that's considered a compact tool, compact jaws are going to fit in there. So you do have that versatility, you know, especially if you're getting excited about these ring kits. And rigid is the only one. And hey, we would love it if you would invest in Viega and rigid together as a solid system. But hey, you know, depending on where you're shopping, what you're doing, you know, people might pick on me because I drive a Ford, right? You know, I always joke Ford, Chevy, Dodge. You know, everybody always has those arguments. The tooling argument is the same thing. But you know, when you're dealing with Viega and you're dealing rigid together, hand in hand, you're getting a complete system. But do know if you have some other tooling platforms out there, that jaws are interchangeable. You know, you could run into a warranty thing, so always please check with the tooling manufacturer, right? I don't want to sit there and start pointing fingers of, well, we don't want you to do that, because every tooling manufacturer has what's called a matrix on their website. So it's a tooling matrix. It will actually cross-reference and let you know what you can do and what they recommend for jaws, tooling platforms, and fitting systems, whether they approve their tooling system for use with Viega or not. So definitely check out, you know, the website of the tooling manufacturer. They have matrix and the tech data sheets for all that.
Awesome. Troy, I got some other ones. Oh, by the way, your boys Dave and my guy Colton reached out, and the tech support number is 866 838 8714 838 8714. And to their credit, they said, just so you know, we answer these phones. We're real humans with proven field experience. So no doubt. Thanks for shouting out to your boss. What the phone number
thanks,
was.
David.
Awesome.
Thanks, David. I appreciate that, bud. Give you kudos, man.
That was good.
Now, David came from tech, and now he's one of our technical trainers. So, you know, he's kind of a little more fresh. You know, it's been a while since I was in tech. You know, I've been,
actually, that was the other Dave.
Over 8 years.
It was
the other Dave
in tech
was Gunny?
No,
David in tech support. Dave Holden, thank you for being online, brother. I appreciate your support and everything you do. That's awesome.
Yeah, we appreciate you, man. That's
we got too many
awesome.
Daves. We got too many Daves on our team.
You guys need to change your names. That's it. You all need to change your names. You work it out, but I want name changes on my desk by sometime.
Yeah.
By the time we come back, everybody needs a name. No more Daves. Oh, wait, Dave Garlow's on the line. Whoops. He can be the only one. There can be only one. Only one Dave.
I think he trumps it all. So I think
he trumps it all. Yeah. All right.
He's the original Dave.
So great question. Can I only use rigid tools to get a warranty?
No. So Viega warranties their fitting against manufacturer defects, right? We recommend the use of rigid. Why? Because they were designed together, right? They go hand in hand. The jaws were designed to work with Viega. So, but no, if there is a manufacturer's defect with a Viega fitting system, you're covered. It doesn't matter the tool. Now, all the tools, I shouldn't say all, most of the jaws out there from the leading competitors or leading tool manufacturers have what's called witness marks on their jaws. So when we make a press, I can actually do a visual inspection and tell you exactly which jaw you use. Now that jaws are interchangeable between the major tool brands that are on the market, it's hard to tell which tooling platform you use, but I can tell at least what jaw you use, right? So at least there's some consistency there. So there's still going to be a warranty. The thing is, if it was the tool, right? Let's just say the tool was beat up, dropped off a scissor lift, something happened, I don't know, manufacturer defect to the tool, manufacturer defect to the jaw. When you work with Viega and rigid hand to hand, right, together, you're going to get a better kind of customer support, because if it comes to Viega and we say, oh, wasn't Viega's fault, this is the tool, got to go back to XYZ tooling company. Now it's just a bunch of this back and forth. And we don't want that, right? But I'll tell you right now, everybody's pretty good about that. The reliability of our fitting system is unbelievable. So you're not going to really run into too many issues when it comes to tooling. And the tooling guys are going to take care of their tools, and Viga's going to take care of the fitting. So there's no issues. Just like a truck with tires, right? Something happens to your check engine light, that's on Ford, right? Something happens to your Goodyear tire, it's on Goodyear. So that's kind of how that works.
Awesome. Great analogy, Troy. Thank you. A really good question came in. Will the rigid C1, the ring kit that we were talking about, which I just jumped off camera to get it, will that work with a Milwaukee M12 tool platform, which I actually have one here. It's nice and shiny and new. This was given to me by my local mill rep, and really appreciate that. Milwaukee's a great tooling company. Got nothing against them whatsoever. I'm personally a rigid guy, but we use their tools here as well in the seminar centers. I can't control what you use in the field. I can just make recommendations. But yeah, it will absolutely fit in the M12, and it will operate and press. I'm running it now. I'll get my fingers out of there. Yep. Yeah, definitely keep your fingers out of jaws. I don't care whose tool it is. So yeah, absolutely you can do that. So. Okay, so let's see, Troy. Another question is the 1/2 and 3/4 inch mega press jaws are available for the M12 tool as well as the rigid compact tools. Do you know if a 1-inch mega press jaw is coming for that tool?
It is coming. I always hate giving launch dates. I don't care whose product it is. I don't like launch dates, especially right now with everything going on with the pandemic globally and COVID-19. So launch dates could be delayed. But yes, currently right now, Rigid offers a 1/2 and 3/4 inch compact mega press jaw, and they have a 1-inch jaw on the way. I would love it today. They advertised it in some of the trade shows in January before we all went on lockdown. So it is coming. It is on the way. You will see a 1/2, 3/4, and 1-inch mega press compact jaw soon.
Okay, great. So if the booster is a double press, does that still count as 2 of my 42,000 presses? And yes, it does. It does count. However, the 3rd trigger press, when you release the tool, does not. So that's just to pop the tool free. But the 2 presses do count to that. So do keep that in mind. Yes. All right. We've got some more questions, Troy.
Nice. I love it. This is great.
Yeah. So, this is we always get these questions that blow up the internet. All right. So what do you say to those who say kills the trades? Takes the skill out of the trades. Come on, Troy. I know you love this. Calm
I,
down.
I love this question, man. It's great. At the end of the day, so, Bo and I are both licensed plumbers, gas fitters, pipe fitters, all that stuff. And at the end of the day, when I was in school, when I was in the apprenticeship program like that, now different from our grandfather's days, back in the day, they had to literally wipe a lead joint, pour a lead joint, and the joining method was the actual kind of, let's say, test, so to speak, right, of how you did that. So really, at the end of the day, that's where this question stems from, because that was the kind of mentality of this was the skill, right? I'm sure our grandfathers felt the same way when they went from pouring lead joints to doing CPVC, right? So in gluing joints together, I'm sure they felt the same exact way. But it's still a skill with anything. You have to know all joining methods. We actually teach trade school kids at Viega, at both of our seminar centers, and we teach them how to solder, thread, groove, mega press, pro press. We teach them how to braze. That's because you've got to know every joining method. And that's not necessarily the skill. There's an art to it, of course, but putting our system together, there's still a skill. People get lazy, right? But to keep it plumb, level, straight, looking good, you got to know some tips and tricks to that. So stay tuned for some other episodes that we have and some credential webinars that we've been doing since lockdown, and we'll teach you all that stuff. But you got to know why you do the things you do, right? As a plumber, I got to know the code book inside and out. I got to know why I'm applying the things I'm applying for the safety, right, of a nation, right? We always say that a plumber protects the safety of a nation, right? The health and safety. And that's the pride part, designing, laying it out, knowing why you're doing the things you do. And then the joining method is a way to allow you to be efficient and to be effective, all that kind of stuff. So if you prefer, hey, for an instance, I have to solder here for some reason because maybe there's not a press fitting for it, right? I always joke and say, hey, I had to keep, my torch on the truck because if I was doing a slow flush valve, I had to sweat that small bushing on there, right? Because you can't press that bushing and we don't make one. Everything else was pro press, but I still had to sweat that one adapter. So yes, you should know every joining method. I do not believe press takes a skill out. I take pride in my work, heavy, do a great job. So no, it doesn't take the skill out. You need to know everything. And this is just a new, innovative way. And believe it or not, it's a small market share right now. It's growing. It's been growing since we've been here in 1999, but there's still a lot of people using traditional methods. But with the safety and burn permits and fire washes, things like that, and Massachusetts and New England, they're PhD with hot work certificate just to go pull a burn permit. I need to go sit through a class now as a licensed plumber to get a hot work certificate, to then have that on hand, to have the burn permit, to do the fire wash. And I get it. It's a necessary evil for safety. Well, press just alleviated that headache for me and all that stress and extra money, and now save me time and money. So to me, it's the safety, the reliability. I can make more money, do more volume, do more work. So no, I think it's a fantastic product.
Awesome. So one question came in, is 3-inch MegaPress G available? Actually, we have MegaPress G available for sale today up to 4-inch. So you can press on gas lines currently in the United States, not yet available in Canada, not yet approved in Canada. They're working on that. It's a little slower moving boat up there. They're harmonized up there. So everybody's got to get on the same page. It's all good. It'll get there. But yeah, in the United States, we are approved. We have our LC4, our CSA listing. You can press on gas lines up to 4-inch with MegaPress G. So yeah, we got it. So absolutely. So I'm getting a lot of questions about like what's in the special pile over here. Actually, I'm getting a lot of questions that have to do with what's in the special pile over here.
All right.
I'm gonna just hit a couple of those, and while I get ready, so I just want to chuck a few questions at you here on the jaw warranty. So I got a question about the warranty on the jaws, and this individual, Steve Taylor, shout out to Steve, said he's had some break over the years. And I'm just going to say, before Troy addresses this, if you've had jaws break, you've been doing this a long time, so thank you, because that meant you started out with Viega in the very beginning, because we were first to this party. We started this party here in the United States. And so thank you for being with us for so long. And I'll let you handle the warranty question. I'm going to get off camera and get these things going.
Absolutely. With rigid warranties, they have their limited lifetime warranty on their products. Now the jaws, when you talk about how to break, to Bo's point, it's engineered to do that. So the plate itself. So I have a jaw right here. So the plate right here, this plate, this is actually engineered to split and crack at that rivet that holds this all together, because the force of that tool as it's coming up against the jaw, there's a lot of force. So there had to be an engineered, let's say, weak point, something that's going to give, because if something didn't give, you could have a catastrophic failure. So it's actually designed to do that. So when you see your jaws break, that means you have done thousands of presses. Now, there's nothing in writing in a manual, rigid or Viega, that says how many presses this jaw is actually going to do before that breakage occurs, because what we have found is that depending on how well you take care of your jaws, if we put gun oil, we're in New England, so I'm in New Hampshire, live free or die. I would use gun oil all over the jaw so it would stay nice and clean, and water would just hit it and beat off in it and not rust it or rot it out or anything like that, right? If you're not using it as a hammer, not just tossing around, if you're actually keeping your jaws nice and clean and good, respecting the tool, we've seen the tools go in for recalibration with the original jaw set still ready to rock, not split, not crack, nothing like that, still in good working condition. So if you do have any, let's say, premature failures, definitely get with Rigid. I haven't really seen stuff like that. I've maybe a couple, and Rigid took care of it. So great company. So just get with them if you have anything. But I'm going to tell you right now, when it breaks, you've done thousands of presses. So great job. Keep pressing thousands and thousands of fittings. I love it.
That's awesome, Troy. The gun oil analogy, Hoppy's number 9 is like Chanel number 5 in New Hampshire. So no doubt. So I just got it. Wow. What's in this box?
Oh man, I like that kit already.
It says Viega on it. What's on the stacking case? It's got, I don't know, man. This is pretty cool. Let me see what's in here. Let's see. Oh, there's an instruction manual, teaser.
Not many of us read those, but we try.
Ooh.
What do you got there, man?
This is what is this? Oh, it's a Z3 actuator. This is pretty cool. What's this go in, Troy?
Well, what's the fantastic marriage of that actuator right there? I always said, that swivel feature that Rigid offers, that Z3 actuator is going to fit right into their brand new tooling. I wish we had it with us, but it's coming out this summer, the RP342XL, right? It's going to be, another booster type tool, like but one tool. So you don't have to use the booster. It's one tool, and then that actuator is going to go in there, give you that flexibility to swivel. It's fantastic. I can't wait to marry those two products together.
So this actuator says Z3 on it too. I hope you guys can see that. Everyone can see that. Sorry, I keep saying guys. I know there's ladies out there too. More ladies in the trades, please. So they're different. One's shorter and one's longer. So this has to do with the amount of work we're going to do, right? So the amount of force times the distance. So we can either extend the distance or change the force. So with the booster, we're multiplying the force. And in this case, we're changing the distance. So that's why that new sexy rigid tool is going to run this actuator. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's some exciting stuff right there. I happen to have one here. You can't have it. Sorry, not yet.
Same thing. Don't want to give launch dates, for anything, obviously with things that are going on, but that hopefully is coming out soon as well. As soon as Rigid launched their 342XL, we'll be launching that. They're going to marry up perfectly. Can't wait. Can't wait for their other standard tool that's coming out with 360-degree rotation, lighter weight. Looks like a compact tool, but it's a standard tool. Like, I really wish I had these here. But Bo and I will have another tooling episode. And I'm hoping the Rigid guys and my Emerson Pro Tool friends on here are watching and join with us so we can actually show off and debut these tools on TechTalk Live.
Check this puppy out, huh? How about this blast from the past? This is a relic, right?
100D
battery tool, Makita battery platform. Incidentally, if you had a job, if you're on a job site and you had a Rigid battery fail, not likely. You get two, they're really robust, good lithium-ion cell. But if you were in a pinch, you could insert a modern 18-volt lithium Makita battery into your Rigid standard size tools. But these use the old Makita batteries, and Makita makes great batteries, fantastic battery company, fantastic tool company. They don't make press tools, but they make great power tools. As does Milwaukee, fantastic power tools, fantastic press tools. But this guy's really old. I actually believe there's an adapter available on eBay. You can plug into this and put a Makita battery in it, or a rigid battery into it. So I got to try and get a hold of one of those, because it'd be cool to get this thing running again. But this is a blast from the past. And this is what the original Von Arcs and the original rigid battery powered tools look like back in the day, something out of like Terminator. I mean, it's like, this is so 80s. It should come with a skinny tie and some neon socks. But I got one more teaser. We still have a little bit of time. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Look at that. Yeah.
Viega tools, man.
Viega tools powered by Rigid. All right. These are some tools that are coming. Can't really tell you a lot. I can tell you these all work. They all function. Oh, look at that sexy little display there. Oh, yeah. And look at that. Someone asked, this is the Picot Tool. And there is the compact mega press jaw for 3/4. Again, soon compact 1-inch jaws coming. And then this, believe it or not, is a standard size tool. And there's a standard size 3/4-inch mega press jaw. It's based on the old 200B tooling platform. Fantastic tool. It's an inline. And yeah, tools are coming. Okay. So right there, 32 kilonewton Viega branded rigid tool. So when it comes to all these tools, why are we doing this? Why do we have these tools? Why are we selling tools when Rigid sells tools, right? Well, this is meant to get you into pressing, okay? We want to break down the barriers to get people into pressing. This won't run a booster. It's not going to do XL. There's some limitations to these tools as well. But the bottom line is, we want you, like Uncle Sam. We want you to use Rigid products. We want you to use Viega products. But ultimately, we want you to press, because that's where things are going. We want you in pressing. We want to get away from the torch. As we used to say in the old days, the torch is passed.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait. That's exciting. I saw a question pop up, though, that I'm going to jump on right now. Somebody asked about that Z3 actuator adapter that you just showed off, and will that work in the Milwaukee long throw tool, which is their tool that they're using to press, large bore mega press fittings. And yes, it will, because again, standard platforms, so standard jaws fit standard tools and things like, because that long throw tool is a standard tool. You can do half all the way up through 4 inches as long as you have the right adapters and jaws. So yes, it does work.
Absolutely. So someone asked if the old XL Pro Press jaws have become obsolete since the copper fittings of the XLC fittings, which we just call Pro Press, 2.5 through 4. I tell people here, if you have a set of those rings, it's a good time to buy a bass boat. They make a great anchor. Unfortunately, we have moved on to the copper platform. Those fittings were made of bronze. They did not meet NSF requirements. The zero lead alloy that we manufacture to make our fittings from, so we make the alloy and the fitting, is so hard that we would have had to better to switch it up. So we went to a copper fitting, which of course, very stable, don't have to forge, don't have to cast that stuff. So unfortunately, the old XL rings are not compatible in any way, shape, or form. So, okay. All right, so let's see. We've got a few other questions. I answered the rigid tool with a Makita battery. So someone asked, they saw a video of a Milwaukee tool from the AHR show in 2019. Can they use that on MegaPress XL?
Sorry, Bo, I cut out. You take that one.
Okay. So you can absolutely use it on MegaPress XL. Again, we warranty the fitting, not the connection. And so if there's an issue with that tooling system, which highly unlikely, but in the unlikely event you do have an issue, you're gonna have to get the tooling manufacturer involved. And that's just how it works. There's lots of tooling platforms. I think Troy's probably got a pile of various other tools back there behind him as well. that are fantastic tools. There's options on the market. Take it away, Troy.
Well, yeah, you do. There's other tools on the market, and I just want everybody to be aware, because somebody asked the question earlier about warranty, right? And at the end of the day, I just don't want to steer anybody away from utilizing our fitting system in case, I don't know, maybe they like a different brand, a different model. There's other models out there. So DeWalt has a standard tool as well. They got their own jaws for ProPress. They don't have Mega Press or anything currently, but they do have half all the way up to 2-inch for ProPress copper systems. So they got, it rotates, 360 degrees all the way around. There's a light on here, right down here for light. They have the diagnostics, right? So, they have what's called a Crimp Connect, right? I talked about the Rigid Link app. I like how it just syncs to my iPhone. This Crimp Connect right here, there's a USB cord. It just goes right into your laptop, and you can analyze the tool, see how many presses somebody did that day, see if there's anything wrong, see where you are at with your presses. This right here does 45,000 presses, right? So the RP340 does 42,000. This one right here does 45,000 before you have to get recalibration. The same thing. So Rigid takes care of calibration. There's Rigid, tool dealers around for their tools, just like DeWalt has their tool dealers around all over the country. So, you just look it up, find a dealer, and you can get that. So some really cool stuff. If there's any questions about the DeWalt, we can answer it, but microprocessor, light screen, tells you when you do a complete press. So, pretty ergonomical tool, right? So I can do one-handed, so I can have that 3 points of contact on a ladder. Comes with a lasso here, a guitar strap, right? So you can actually strap that to your body. So yeah, there's the DeWalt tool. Now they only have a standard. So, and again, standard jaws fit into a standard platform. So they only have a standard platform. They don't have a compact tool out currently. And then Hilti, they launched this year, or last year, I should say. They actually launched a standard tool. It's a straight wand, right? So they offer a standard straight wand tool, not pistol grip. You got that swivel action right there. So ergonomic, really good, lightweight tool. Standard jaws. Now they again have jaws for the ProPress style fittings. So your copper tube style fittings, and they do that from 1/2 to 2-inch. And currently these tooling manufacturers, newer to the market, they're ramping up and to offer the other size jaws as well, and other things like Mega Press and EXL, size of large bore fitting. So yeah, there's a bunch of tools out there. There's stuff you can go to Alibaba.com as a Chinese Amazon and be careful what you pay for, but you can get a $200 press tool that probably blows up after the first press. So there's so much out there on the internet. But the major tool manufacturers, Rigid, Milwaukee, DeWalt, Hilti, they do offer a quality tool in my opinion. Just like, I'm a Rigid guy. I got a lot of Milwaukee tools in my garage here. If I panned around, I got bandsaws, hole hogs, my radio, bandsaws, all that kind of stuff. And then Rigid, I got my Rigid press tools, my pipe vices, my pipe stands, my tubing cutter. So, you kind of know where to choose and what to choose, right, from the different manufacturers. So all great manufacturers.
Yeah, really good point, Troy. All very strong, very reputable, time-proven manufacturers that we just showed you there. They all have great products, all good platforms. Ultimately, we want you to use Viega. This isn't intended to be a sales pitch for Viega or Rigid. We just, we're married together. We have a really good partnership. They were developed together, Rigid, Viega. It's really important to understand that relationship. And of course, we stand behind our product, and that's what we're all about. We have your back. So,
but you're going to think about it, where we cover all of North America. So depending on what region you're going to run into different tools, and we need to support, our customers out there. Right. So that's why we're here to do this. If you had any questions about any of these, we've been trained on them, we've used them, and we just want to be your experts with everything pressed and help you out every step of the way.
Yeah. So really cool. A lot of people, the shout outs on the old tools, a lot of them have them. Someone said nice. They've been using Viega since it was still Stadler. That's awesome. Since we carried the Stadler name, was Stadler Viega. That's old school right there. Old school with a K. Love it. Really cool stuff. Also, you guys that are trying to hawk your 14.4 volt batteries to us. Okay. I'm getting offers. It's like eBay over here. It's like the Makita Battery Stock Exchange going on over here. It's hilarious. So, so a couple quick questions, Troy, and I think we're about to wrap it up, but maximum working gas pressure of the system for MegaPress G.
Absolutely. So due to the CSA listing, the testing, we actually have to be tested and listed up to 125 PSI. So 125 pounds of gas, but you're not installing it up to that. So what you're doing is you're following your local codes. And so written into, in New Hampshire, I'm NFPA 54, there's international fuel gas codes, all the different utility companies have written engineered specifications for utility companies and gas distribution piping. So you have to follow all of that. But I'm telling you right now, we are approved in most applications up to 5 pounds, right? So typically a 5-pound system, especially running into a building, has to be welded. Now the code has been rewritten to say that you can actually use Mega Press G fittings in that application from half all the way up to 4-inch. So it's going to say welded or press connect. So that's what's fantastic. So most is going to be up to 5. Anything over that traditionally is going to need a variance or approval from your mechanical board. We ran into that in New Hampshire, had a place that we wanted to do some pizza ovens. They needed 8 PSI. Had to get a variance for that approval past that 5 pounds. So just keep an eye out. Always refer to your local code. We have to follow code. Everything in our manual regurgitates code because we follow a standard that we test to for performance, and code reference that standard.
Awesome, Troy. Thank you. So we're about out of time. We're coming up on the 2-minute mark. So one last thing that someone asked, and I'll answer this at the end, is what can we do to get one of those bitchin' Viega shirts? So we like to say in New England, they're wicked.
They're wicked.
So Troy, I'll let you take it over and then I'll get back to the show.
All right. Well, I just want to thank everybody for attending our very first episode of TechTalk Live. This was awesome. We do this kind of stuff in our seminar centers prior to all this, lockdown and stay-at-home orders. I mean, we've been training customers since 2006 in our New Hampshire Seminar Center. Last year, Bo, you guys opened up with your seminar center in Colorado. Fantastic, 26,000 square feet of amazing, beautiful space where we only train, right? So we train hundreds of classes a year. Thousands and thousands of customers a year. We can't wait to open these facilities back up and get you there. But we're not going to stop Tech Talk. Tech Talk is forever. So we're going to keep doing this. And we're also hope you get to our seminar centers where you can get some wicked cool t-shirts, swag, all that kind of stuff. Learn from the best. Get into the trenches. Get into the workshops. Get your hands dirty with the tools, with the fittings. Learn from all of our technical trainers. I just can't wait till we open back up. But in the meantime, we're here to keep you connected any way possible.
Awesome. Thanks, Troy. So that's it for me. Thank you, everybody, for attending. One thing about those wicked cool t-shirts. So you think you got a great idea for Tech Talk Live that you'd like to hear on the air? Well, that's great because we're taking ideas. So if you have a cool idea, email us at techtalk@viega.us. That's techtalk@viega.us. If we use your idea on the air, we're going to give you a shout out. We're also going to send you some pretty cool Viega swag. Now, last thing is, if you haven't yet signed up for the Viega Rewards program, you need to get on that. It's vigarewards.us. Again, vigarewards.us. Sign up, and there's a whole bunch of ways to earn Viega points based on your Viega purchases. And those points are good for tooling and all kinds of Viega swag. And of course, the important one, our training trips. In-person instructor-led training is awesome at our seminar centers. Come see a Sox game with us. Come do some axe throwing. Come to Topgolf. Do some fun stuff with us. And we will see you next time on Tech Talk Live.
All right. Thank you very much. May 20th, everybody. May 20th, 12 p.m. Central. All right. Thank you very much. Take care.
We'll see you.